What's the point of having an A-Class sedan when you have the CLA? In today's video, I'm going to compare the 2021 Mercedes CLA versus the 2021 Mercedes A-Class sedan, because there's also a hatchback version, not sure why. What's the difference between these two vehicles and what fits better your budget or even your comfort level? That is the goal for today's video. So, let's start. Hello and welcome back. My name is Sam Carlegian. For today's video, we have another comparison, as usually we do in this channel. Now, if you're in the market for these two vehicles, I'm going to compare the current CLA 2021 model, which is not very different from the 2020, and of course the 2021 Mercedes A-Class sedan. If you are in the market for these two, in this video I'll compare them head to head to find out what really separates them, which one will cost you more, what the options are, how much bigger is the CLA, and of course, how do they drive? That is the goal for today's video. Before we get to the comparison, fun fact. Mercedes recently admitted that they went too far with their cheaper compact range. They were too focused on competing with the volume makers. Take the A-Class for example. It's not too far in pricing compared to the CLA. They still offer both in Canada and of course United States. It confuses people. Which one should I buy? Is the A-Class too small? Is the CLA too big? Do I need to pay more for the CLA? Now, in terms of size, of course, the CLA it is bigger compared to the A-Class. It is, of course, longer, wider, and higher, but not by much. And of course, it has a slightly bigger trunk. But the A-Class has something that I found it very interesting when you compare them head to head. It offers more headroom in the front area and of course in the back. As you can see from this video, the headroom in the A-Class is better. And the reason is simple. While the A-Class has the shape of a full sedan, although small in size, the CLA is shaped as a coupe, which has decreased the headroom to achieve the design. What about power? What do these two offer under the hood? The CLA and A-Class share similar engines, with the A-Class having a detuned 4-cylinder turbocharged engine mated with a 7G DCT 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Both have a 4-matic drive system for those snowy days. The only difference is that the CLA is slightly faster in terms of the actual performance, but other than that, they are not too far off in terms of the engine size. The other thing is that the Mercedes CLA offers a much more powerful option, which is the CLA 45 AMG. Meanwhile, in the A-Class, you get an A35, which makes a bit more horsepower compared to the standard 220, but you don't get a 45 option, which is a full AMG package. Now let's talk about design. Which one do I like the most out of these two vehicles? Well, I have a bit of mixed feelings about these two. I'm leaning towards a bit more on the CLA. I like that coupe design. It looks better and of course more stylish. The A-Class looks small and kind of dull. The front end isn't as good. In fairness, no AMG package for this A-Class, but you can add one for extra cost, which in Canada it's about $1,500. In the US starts at about $1,000. The front end and the rear end of the CLA class look so much smaller compared to the CLS version, which is, of course, the bigger brother, but it's technically like the baby CLS. The The CLA has a lot of options to be customized, so especially the carbon fiber parts, as you can see from the Mercedes side. The A-Class can only be customized with the Sport package. The CLA has a few extra options. The AMG package is more expensive, but can be added with the Night package, something that the A-Class can't offer. Now let's move on to the interior. Let's talk about how these two compare. The difference is not that big, so don't get too excited. Things don't change a lot, except when you add the AMG package. For the CLA receives a better steering, different seats. As you can see from video, they're more like bucket style. The infotainment system is exactly the same. The interior design is exactly the same as well. You couldn't tell them apart. Things are exactly the same from the dashboard, infotainment, and the cluster design. You can also add the Hey Mercedes voice control feature on both. The infotainment can be operated through the touchpad, touchscreen, touch button, or the steering wheel, and of course it has a wireless charging pad. The infotainment system is the new design, which is sort of connected with the cluster. As you can see, both offer the exact same design. So the difference in terms of the interior and how everything is laid out, it's not that big. It's mostly to do with the fact that the CLA offers the AMG package, and you get those little extra parts inside, like the seats and the steering wheel, but everything else looks the same. Even the sunroof, it's almost the same size in both. We've covered everything you need to know about this too, in terms of interior, in terms of exterior, space, performance, and so on. Now it's time to take them for a test drive and compare these two head to head and find out which one drives better, more comfortable, which one has a better cabin noise. I usually do a cabin noise test, and I've done it this time. We will do one at 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles per hour, to find out whether the CLA is better isolated compared to the A-Class. Okay, so let's talk about how do these two drive. Right off the bat, you notice that this vehicle feels inside much smaller, and of course it is smaller than the CLA. You can tell that right away. There is definitely that feel that when you get inside, it feels so much smaller and practical too at the same time. But it is a bit cramped. I feel a bit cramped in here. With this vehicle. For me, 6'2", my height is just not as comfortable as the CLA in my opinion. The CLA though is not as comfortable in the second row because you get less headroom compared to this. So that's the benefit of getting the A-Class. If like for the rear side, you will be getting a little bit more of space. This, on one hand, it does not feel as fast as the CLA in terms of driving performance. When you take off, the CLA has that high torque peak faster, gets there way faster than this. This, I think the size of it does a great job to make it faster because it is lighter. At the same time, the body itself, so it cuts through air much faster and better compared to the CLA in my opinion. What I love about the CLA that I don't like about this, well, first of all, that has the AMG package. Absolutely love the steering wheel. So if you are deciding between standards or the AMG package, I suggest you take the AMG package because the seat in that felt so much better. The beautiful thing about this comparison is that one has a standard package, the other one has the AMG package, where you can see the difference of what you don't get on non-AMG packages. So that is very important for this video. So the steering wheel in here, it's standard, leather, no flat button, nothing fancy, just a standard model. The AMG package gets the beautiful red stitches, and of course Beautiful leather, sort of like a suede finish as well. Same thing with the door panel, same thing with the seats. You get suede mixed with some leather and so on. So there's some pros and cons of getting the EMG package. You're looking at paying more, but at the same time you're getting that extra appearance package in the interior and the exterior. In terms of visibility, in here, visibility is better. Definitely, I'd say about 30%. The reason is the way the CLA is shaped. Of course, it gives you less visibility because of the rear end is much lower. This is more like a sedan rather than a coupe. So that's another difference. Of course, the CLA is a coupe, so that is very obvious. The other thing I like about this is, of course, the visibility on my left side. If you're going to opt in for the, if you're going to pick the AMG package, you're getting those seats. But one problem I found with those seats is that the actual headrest is so much higher compared to this. And what it does is the left column gets completely lost because of that seat. That's one annoying thing. It took me a while to realize it, but as I was driving, I noticed that difference. And the other thing too is this has a better steering radius because it's much smaller. So if you saw the video, it took a little bit more space when I turned here at the same spot with the CLA. So yes, you're going to compromise in space by getting this, but you're getting a little bit more visibility, better turning radius. You're also going to get better fuel efficiency out of this because it's much smaller. In terms of the comfort level, I feel in the CLA in sport mode, it becomes a little bit stiffer for some reason. The suspension setup might be the reason why. Now, in terms of when you put it in a dynamic mode, things change a little bit more, it gets stiffer. The power delivery in this vehicle in the dynamic mode or sport mode, it's not the best in my opinion. Like you push it, there is a little bit of a kick for sure, but compared to the CLA, which has, for some reason, it just feels a little bit more powerful compared to this. You feel the power kicking faster onto the roads. Now, transmission-wise, they both share similar transmissions. Now, to wrap up this video, which one would I buy out of these two? Well, I think my situation is that potentially my family will grow. I will need a bit more space. As I'm sitting right now, I'd say the A Class does the job just fine. It has space, has the power. You know, it's not massive. The difference between the two of them is not huge, but you're going to save some money on this thing. And a smaller vehicle, easy to get in and out to places, easy to maneuver. It is definitely much more comfortable. In some level, I feel more comfortable here than I do in the CLA for some reason. This feels very much like a boat ride. The CLA looks better though. I'll give it to Mercedes. They made that difference between these two. That CLA looks so much better than this in my opinion. It looks nicer. And, you know, if looks is not what you're looking for, if you don't care about that, then just the B class, sorry, the A class, the A220 will do the job just fine in my opinion. There's not going to be, you know, it's not a competition here which one looks better. But if that matters to you, I'd say the CLA will be your choice. On top of that, the CLA 45, of course, is the next option. You can pick much more powerful engine, a lot of performance parts in that vehicle as well. With that in mind, thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and special thanks goes to Kyle from Performance Mercedes for making this happen. Cheers, and stay safe.